she said to her sister on speakerphone. I'm training him. Soon he'll do whatever I want. She didn't know I was home early. I didn't interrupt. I just trained myself to want someone else. The panic in her eyes when she saw my packed bags. I, 32-year-old male named Alex, had come home early on a Thursday afternoon, around 2 p.m., well ahead of schedule. My girlfriend, Lauren, 29, wasn't supposed to be expecting me until 7 p.m. I stepped softly, trying not to alert her. But then I heard her laugh, loud and confident, speaking on speakerphone with her sister. Madison, no Maddie, you don't get it. I'm training him. Literally training him, Lauren said. Her voice carried a mixture of triumph and amusement. Remember how he used to push back? Now he does whatever I ask. It's all about the system withdraw affection. If he doesn't comply, reward him when he does. Alex is desperate to make me happy. He'll do basically anything now. I stood there, heart sinking, processing the betrayal that stretched over 3 years. 3 years of thinking we were partners. 3 years of living together, blending our lives, only to realize I was a lab experiment in manipulation. She chuckled, recounting examples of how I cooked, cleaned, and even made her coffee exactly how she liked it, all while working 50-hour weeks. And she framed it like some twisted victory. Her sister's voice was muffled, but I caught snippets. Sunk cost fallacy. He's too invested. He won't leave. Lauren laughed again, dismissing any notion of empathy. That sinking realization hit me. Everything I thought I was giving out of love had been absorbed into her playbook. I backed out quietly, shutting the door, and sat in my car for 20 minutes. My mind racing. I thought about the mornings I'd made her coffee, the dinners I prepped, the groceries I carried home after long shifts. I thought about the weekends spent trying to find the right job for 8 months, while maintaining this delicate balance she orchestrated. And then it hit her. So-called love was a system, a calculated training program. My next move became clear. I wasn't going to confront her yet. I needed a plan. Methodical, quiet, precise, like dismantling a machine that had run on my effort alone. By the time I returned to the apartment, acting casual, Lauren was on the couch, watching TV, oblivious. "Hey, babe," I said, masking the storm inside. She barely looked up. Migraine fading, I made the pasta she liked for dinner, nodded at her anecdotes, responded appropriately, but mentally I had already left. The lease was up in 3 months, but I started planning 6 weeks ahead. I catalogued my possessions, budgeted secretly, reconnected with friends she had edged out, and mentally prepared for the cleanest exit I could orchestrate. Every gesture, every smile, every I love you felt hollow. Every touch was a reminder of manipulation. I was still polite, still cordial, but emotionally, I was a ghost in the apartment. Her training had worked, but in reverse. While she thought she was shaping me, I was reshaping my life, preparing to reclaim it. By the end of that night, lying next to her, I made a silent vow. No confrontation, no argument, just a calculated departure. She believed she was managing me. Soon, she would realize she couldn't manage anything anymore. The next morning, I woke up early, before Lauren stirred. The apartment smelled faintly of her perfume, but it no longer triggered warmth and clarity. I started methodically, opened a new bank account at a different institution, split my paycheck, so I could cover just my share of rent and utilities, and began quietly taking inventory of my belongings. Books, electronics, kitchenware, everything I had brought into the relationship, was logged, packed, and ready. Small boxes in my trunk, already prepped, felt like armor for the weeks ahead. Lauren didn't notice the subtle shifts at first. I stopped making her morning coffee, citing a new diet plan as my excuse. Lunches became solo affairs, prepared with care for myself and no one else. She commented, puzzled. "You've been acting strange," she said. I shrugged, just stressed with work. Every question, every attempt at probing was met with polite, non-committal answers. Inside, my resolve solidified. She was used to controlling every move, every routine, but the tighter she tried to pull me in, the more I gently slipped away. By week 2, I had reconnected with friends Lauren had slowly pushed out of my life. Basketball with Greg, old college friends, co-workers. I reclaimed fragments of my world she had quietly encroached upon. When she questioned, I gave harmless explanations. Basketball, haven't played in a while. Just catching up with Greg, nothing serious. She frowned, but had no leverage. She couldn't accuse me without revealing her own control issues. I also started apartment hunting in earnest, finding a modest one-bedroom about 20 minutes away. By midweek, I had submitted an application and was approved. Lauren remained oblivious, still projecting that the relationship was balanced, that I was fully invested. The truth was starkly different. Every "I love you," every touch, every shared chore had been a layer of manipulation. I was no longer participating. I was strategizing my freedom. Her tactics evolved. She tried to escalate affection dinners, shared shows, initiating intimacy more frequently, but I responded with surface-level compliance, emotionally detached. She wanted to manipulate the outcome, and I allowed her to act without giving her real control. I counted down days, planning the exact moment to reclaim my independence, until the lease ended. My mind rehearsed the steps, the timing, the precise way I would leave without drama, preserving both dignity and safety. By the 3rd week, my plan was fully operational. Utilities were separated, personal finances secured, social circles restored. I even began subtle disengagement from shared routines to avoid tipping her off. Lauren noticed, questioned, tried. Guilt trips, accusations, but I remained consistent, calm, courteous, untouchable in my emotional neutrality. The longer she tried, the clearer it became her system only worked because I allowed it. Now, it had no effect. It wasn't vengeance, it was reclaiming myself. I realized that while she believed she had trained me to comply, I had retrained myself to prioritize my own life. The irony was satisfying, subtle, and complete. She was no longer in control, and she wouldn't realize it until it was too late. Her imagined leverage evaporated, replaced with the quiet certainty of my planned departure. The day finally arrived. Lease ended on the 31st, but I planned my exit for the 29th, a Saturday. I took the day off, claiming an urgent project at work. By 3 p.m., I was in the apartment, quietly packing the last of my belongings. Clothes, books, gaming, console, kitchen, items all accounted for, all mine. The boxes lined the hallway like markers of a life I was reclaiming. Lauren returned around 4:30. Key in hand, footsteps tentative. "Alex," her voice wavered as she entered, scanning the apartment. Silence met her gaze as she saw the boxes. What are you doing?" she asked, a mixture of shock, anger, and panic crossing her face. I looked up calmly. "Moving out," I said simply. Her expression shifted through confusion, disbelief, calculated calm, and finally realization. This isn't fair. We live together. You can't just do this," she protested, trying the soft voice that used to bend me to her will. I didn't flinch. I can, and I am. It's been planned for 6 weeks, I replied. Her eyes went wide. 6 weeks? What happened 6 weeks ago? I let the memory of that Thursday afternoon hang between us. I came home early, heard you on speakerphone. The conversation, the training, color drained from her face. And for the first time, I saw her vulnerable. Human, not the manipulator I'd lived with for years. She switched tactics rapidly, tears, guilt trips, promises, anger, but I was unshakable. I'm done, Lauren. There's nothing to fix, because there was never anything to fix. This wasn't a relationship. It was a project, I said, turning back to the boxes. Her pleas escalated, hands reaching for items, trying to claim half the things I purchased, but I showed receipts, dates, and proof. By 10 p.m., my apartment was empty of my possessions. The shared furniture stayed. Everything I valued was with me. Afterwards, I moved into my new apartment with Greg's help, unloading boxes, ordering pizza, and cracking open beers. Peace settled over the chaos. The first night alone, in my own space, felt foreign but liberating. Lauren tried the predictable aftermath. Texts, calls, friends and family reaching out, accusing me, attempting to coerce. I responded only with calm, short messages, blocked where necessary, documentation ready, boundaries set. My life, finally my own. A few weeks later, I ran into Dana, an old friend and former colleague. Our catch-ups were casual, light-hearted, unforced. I laughed, relaxed, no performance required. Drinks led to more meetings, connection deepened slowly. Lauren's attempts to intrude only confirmed one thing. Freedom wasn't negotiable. My new relationship thrived on authenticity, trust, and respect, radically different from the manipulation I'd endured. 4 months later, I reflected on the transformation. Apartment furnished, routines restored, friendships rekindled, and career progressing. I realized happiness wasn't a performance. It was genuine, self-directed. Cassio Lawrence continued spinning narratives about financial abuse and narcissism. But the truth prevailed with friends, family, and witnesses. Her schemes fell apart, revealing the real dynamic that had existed all along. I smiled at the quiet of my apartment. The basketballs I reclaimed on the weekends, books stacked just as I liked. Meals cooked for enjoyment, not compliance. The training program she thought she wielded had backfired. I had trained myself to leave, and that training stuck. Freedom, clarity, and peace were my rewards to anyone trapped in a similar situation. Here's the truth. If your partner talks about you like you're something to manage, not someone to love, it's not a relationship. It's a hostage situation. You can leave. It will be hard, but the freedom on the other side is worth every calculated step. I was no longer a project. I was my own person, and that made all the difference.